Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits rise. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight.
So I came on down to the O'Keefe Ranch one night, and Mr. O'Keefe told me I could stay up in the room upstairs. Now all the O'Keefe kids looked at me with a funny look in their face. They said, ooh, the upstairs room. I said, what's wrong with the upstairs room? And Mr. O'Keefe winked at me and he said, oh, the upstairs room's just fine.
I'm so glad the traditions of the O'Keefe Ranch are being kept up. I've been to so many Christmas parties here. Marianne and Connie love to have everyone over at Christmas. Of course, I never called him that. Always Mr. O'Keefe. Only his friends called him Connie, short for Cornelius. Well, you couldn't call him Corny, although I heard some people did. I think the last Christmas party I attended here was in 1888. Everyone was here because everybody was invited. The Ellisons, the Ellises, the Fortunes, and of course the greenhouse. But then, Marianne and Elizabeth always prepared Christmas at the O'Keefe Ranch together.
Went to sleep, and I was lying there in my bed that night when all of a sudden I felt cold. Cold from the inside out. And I was laying there in my bed, and all of a sudden I could tell there was a ghost in the room. It was a girl ghost, and she was standing right by my bed. She was a young woman, maybe, with long blonde hair. And she was standing there looking down in the bed at me, and I was laying there just a shaking and a shivering in my covers. And I didn't know what to do. So I reached out with my hand, and I grabbed a match, and I lit it. And just as I turned around, I could see her disappear into my closet. So I went over to the closet, and I was shaking and shivering all inside. And I opened up the closet, and I lit another match, and I looked inside. There wasn't anything to see inside. Just a couple old coat hangers hanging up on the coat hook. And just as I turned around, I could hear the coat hangers jingle, 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 jingle behind me. I looked back into the closet. No one was there, but the coat hangers were jingling back and forth. I lit another match and I looked around the closet, couldn't see a thing. Closed the door behind me, and as I went to get in my bed, I could feel a hand on my shoulder. I turned around quick and lit another match just to see the girl go right through the wall back into the closet. Well, I climbed into my bed and I pulled those covers over my head and I laid there all night, didn't sleep a wink. In the morning I went on down to the breakfast table and there was all the O'Keefe kids sitting there with their eyes as big as pancakes. Mr. O'Keefe came in and he winked at me and said, well, how'd you sleep last night, Wayne? And I said, oh, I had the best sleep I ever had, Mr. O'Keefe. And the kid said, didn't you hear anything? Nope, didn't hear a thing. And so that's the night I spent in the O'Keefe Ranch House. I'll tell you one thing, I'd never spend another night there if I didn't have to.
2 weeks older than Confederation, the O'Keefe Ranch, Cornelius started it in 1867 together with his partners, Thomas Greenhow and Thomas Wood. Wood sold out to Greenhow in 1871, and Greenhow and O'Keefe remained together till Thomas died in 1889. They lived a pretty Spartan life, and on more than one occasion these two bachelors provided hospitality, but not comfort, to some important guests. Cornelius loved to tell of the time when the Lieutenant Governor of BC, J.W. Trutch, visited the ranch. He had come to do some hunting, and when he asked Cornelius to be his gun bearer, Cornelius said, "Carry your own darn gun. I intend to do some hunting myself." Darn was not the word that Cornelius used. One of the women in the Lieutenant Governor's party remarked that this was one of the roughest locations they had ever encountered on their travels. Cornelius knew that he needed to bring some graciousness to the ranch. So, in 1876, he embarked on a journey east to find a wife. There he met and married Mary Ann McKenna. But Cornelius had two women with him when he returned. Accompanying the couple was his niece, Elizabeth Coghlan. She was to be a companion to Mary Ann, but she also became the wife of Thomas Greenhow, and we all came to know her as Auntie. After that, the ranch house really became a home, and the tradition of Christmas at the O'Keefe Ranch began.
Cheer at this special time of year. Every oven smelled warm with food. Girls and boys dreamt of toys that they would find beneath the tree in a radiant, carefree mood. Let voices ring where the happy children sing, never letting great thoughts intrude. Laughter filled the air everywhere, lighting up this gracious interlude.
Mary Ann loved to cook. It was a good thing because she had 8 children besides herself and Cornelius. But one of her favorite recipes was called Mrs. O'Keefe's Cookies. She made it every Christmas and it was a hit with everybody, especially Mrs. Greenhow. Some folks say it was Mrs. O'Keefe's cookies that contributed to Auntie's comfortable appearance. Mrs. O'Keefe chalked up her cooking success to the special wood heat in her cook stove, purchased especially in the East.
Children tiptoe and look through each cranny and each nook for the presents they hope are there. Mothers make fathers take the heavy logs and stack them high by the fireplace decked with care. Pale silver balls lighting decorated halls quiver in the resplendent air. As they spin in fun, everyone makes arrangements for the village fair.
Couples hand in hand, a single blue striped guitar to hear. Christmas holidays, festively on hand, for them delighting eye and ear.
The children got sleighs for Christmas. The whole family used them for years. Sometimes they'd hitch them to one of the ranch horses and were dragged all over the place. The sleighs took the ranch foreman, Jack Cousins, a couple of days to build. Jack could fix anything, make anything, from fixing machinery and shoeing the horses to doing some little thing for Mary Ann or Elizabeth. This horseshoe puzzle is one of Jack's creations. Oh, I could never make it work. But he had the knack.
While the sun sets on the rim, as shades of evening filter the light, shadows of earth fade into the night. Still, while the sun sets on the hill. Peace, peace, peace. May the pleasures of life increase. Each mother is shielding children from sorrow, weaving a lullaby till tomorrow. Peace, peace, peace. May the warmth of their love never cease.
The house was ready for the Christmas of '86. The mansion was lovely. 14 rooms, 3 fireplaces, and a beautiful parlor. His friends joked that Cornelius was the O'Keefe of Okanagan, as much as saying he was the laird of the valley. The tree went up shortly after the 1st of December. The children had their advent calendars. Imagine, 8 of them, decorating the tree. Well, the house was filled with the excitement of Christmas. Both Mrs. O'Keefe's, Mary Ann and Elizabeth, loved crocheting and needlework. So did their daughters, and evidence of their handiwork was everywhere. The ranch was more than just a home to the O'Keeffes and greenhouse. It was a community, and one of the largest ones around next to Priest Valley, which was quite a ways away, so the ranch had everything on it. Cornelius became postmaster in '72, one of the first in the Okanagan. The bigwigs spelled it wrong, and it took ages to get it corrected. Your mail came in once a week via stagecoach from Kamloops. And after you picked up your mail, you bought whatever supplies you needed here at the general store. It was a great place to meet your neighbors and catch up on the latest news, and a little bit of gossip too.
Soon it will be Christmas Day. Christmas Day. City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, meeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you will hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Hear the bells go ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. See the snow crunch, hear the kids bunch, this is Santa's big scene. And above all this bustle you hear those silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Hear the bells go ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Ding dong bells, silver bells, Christmas Day.
The O'Keeffes were Catholics without a church, so Cornelius got busy building one the year the house was completed. He was the first to contribute to the building fund, but before he was finished, he had everyone from Kelowna to Enderby on the list. And when it was finished in '89, the tradition of celebrating midnight mass began. Folks came from Priest Valley and all around the district. The Reverend Father Marshall would stand right over there officiating, and it would be a full choral service.
Street
On Christmas morning, the celebration of High Mass, and in the afternoon and evening, well, that's when everyone would be invited over to the O'Keeffe's for a grand party. Mary Ann lived here for 14 years and saw the ranch grow, her family grow, and the little town of Priest Valley grow. From being one of the first white women in the Okanagan to being able to hobnob with Lord and Lady Aberdeen, entertaining them and provincial and federal ministers, and of course, the bishop was a frequent visitor. She died when she was only 49 years old. It was a terrible shock to everyone. We had all come to know her and love her and have wonderful memories of her and her hospitality. A year later, when we had heard that Cornelius had remarried, well, we wondered how Elizabeth Greenhow would react to this, Mary Ann's best friend. What would Auntie say? Do you know who should arrive? Another Elizabeth, 23 years old. And she became as close a friend to everyone as had Mary Ann.
Elizabeth kept up the tradition of hosting the community to great gatherings, and she spent a good deal of Cornelius's money on the fine china, cutlery, and furnishings that still grace the mansion. She also bore him 6 more children. The ranch reached its zenith in the years before World War I. With no debts, it was valued at $400,000. But like all other ranches in British Columbia, it suffered badly during the Great Depression. In 1967, Cornelius's youngest son, Tyranny, converted it to an historic site. And in 1977, it passed out of the family's hands to the Alberta-based Devonian Foundation. It is now operated by the City of Vernon as an educational historical site. For the past 4 years, a Christmas party featuring community groups has been held there. The ranch is open to the general public during the spring and summer.